What would you do if you woke up trapped inside your favorite game? Our story begins in flames and shadows, where a mysterious figure grips a glowing sword against an apocalyptic backdrop. This is Silvenia's failed Swordmaster, a tale of Taily, a struggling student who must forge through countless perils to become the world's savior. But sometimes, the game plays by different rules.
Meet our protagonist, a young man with striking heterochromatic hair, black and white like day and night. He's played this fantasy game countless times, mastering every quest, every battle. His hands glow with familiar energy as reality shatters around him. The sound of breaking glass echoes as he transitions from digital fantasy to cold, harsh reality. But becoming the protagonist? That was never part of the plan. A girl with flowing brown hair erupts in brilliant green energy, her power crackling through the air. A surprised boy in a red jacket cowers on the ground, fear written across his face. I didn't become the protagonist, she declares with devastating certainty. The explosion that follows, kaboom, shatters any illusions about fairy tale endings. Sometimes the game chooses differently. The crushing realization hits like a physical blow. I became a third-rate villain, not the hero, not even an important side character, just another obstacle meant to be removed early by the true protagonist. A silver-haired man grips his weapon while flames dance around a determined boy in red. The hand drawing back a bowstring speaks of final moments. But it's too soon to give up. The Academy will be a battlefield of countless incidents. A fierce warrior with spiky hair and orange streaks raises his bloodied sword for another strike. Chains bind a desperate figure surrounded by dark energy, while shadowy eyes watch from the depths. A mysterious witch with silver hair commands purple energy, her power radiating through the air. These are the players in the deadly game ahead. Purple energy erupts in a devastating burst as fates begin to shatter. Explosions tear through the battlefield, sending jagged shards flying in all directions. I, as a third-rate villain, declares a voice filled with dark determination. Steel clashes against steel as two figures dance their deadly ballet, one in red dodging strikes with desperate agility. The battle for survival has begun.
Those striking violet eyes burn with resolve as the harsh truth settles in. As a nobody in this world, he must do everything possible to survive. The scene shifts from grim determination to unexpected elegance. A sparkling chandelier illuminates an opulent room where a figure in a dark suit sits cross-legged on the floor. His contemplative suggests wheels turning, plans forming. Rothstaylor sits against the backdrop of a grand academy, sweat beading his forehead as the sun sets behind him. I feel like fate is mocking me, he reflects bitterly. The official notice confirms his worst fears. They're disowning him. An attendant hands over his meager belongings while students point and whisper, "Look how the mighty have fallen, from power to pariah in a single moment."
The whispers follow him everywhere. Two students in red uniforms discuss his downfall with cold indifference, disowned, kicked out, tampering with entrance exams. But Ed's inner voice tells a different story. Behind those dark sunglasses, desperation wars with confusion. He doesn't deserve this treatment. After all, he's been transported into the very game called Silvenia's failed Swordmaster. The best game of the year trophy gleams mockingly as three powerful figures channel magical energy in a mystical realm. When protagonists get transported into stories, they usually become the rich heir, the genius prodigy, or an overpowered SSS rank hunter. They get all the advantages, all the luck. But Ed? He got the short end of every possible stick. Ed stands in dramatic fury, fists clenched, proclaiming how unfair everything is. Other students mock him mercilessly, calling his shameless behavior frugal and modest. He shrinks under their contemptuous stares, that familiar expression of disdain crossing his face. The status display confirms the brutal truth. Ed Rothstaylor, the character everyone loves to hate.
But his flaws run deeper than anyone realizes. The character stats reveal the devastating truth. pathetically low intelligence for a magic student, strength so weak it's embarrassing even for nobility. In the original game, Ed appears only as a cowardly third-rate villain at the very beginning, a forgettable obstacle, a throwaway character with a throwaway ending. The blonde boy sits alone in his dimly lit room, grappling with existential despair. Why him? Why this character of all the possibilities in the game? He grips his leather suitcase with white knuckles, the weight of his situation crushing down on him. But dwelling on the why won't change anything. Stepping into the sunlight in his red suit, he projects an air of grim determination.
Determination burns bright in his eyes. He's resolved to survive no matter what it takes. Silvenia Academy sprawls across the entire Akan Island like a miniature city by the water. But Ed's destination lies elsewhere, an undeveloped forest area northeast of the Academy. There, exhausted and worn, he sits with his 2 heavy suitcases, the long trek finally over. Inside the Academy's prestigious halls, Ed sits defeated on the cold floor, trying to escape the judgmental stares burning into his back. The timing is crucial. If he was just disowned, then this marks the very beginning of the game's storyline. One silver lining cuts through his despair. While expelled from the dormitory, he hasn't been kicked out of the Academy yet.
Glittering coins dance in his imagination, the promise of a comfortable future if he can just earn a scholarship. But the tuition fee looms like an impossible mountain. This semester is already paid for, but next term, Ed sits in the park with his worldly possessions, that familiar look of distress etched across his features. Can someone with his pathetic stats even hope for a scholarship? Survival requires the basics: food, clothing, shelter. Ed assesses his belongings. Flashy clothes and an ornamental dagger spread across his open suitcase. Clothing he has covered for at least a week. But food and shelter? The forest streams nearby offer some hope, but he'll be living rough for the foreseeable future. Time to adapt or die.
10 days until the semester starts. 10 days to build a shelter and establish some semblance of survival. Ed stretches and prepares to work, casting wind slash to cut through the trees. The whooshing magic slices through branches, but exhaustion hits him like a physical blow. How has he already spent after cutting just a few branches? This body is weaker than he thought. His stomach growls with ravenous hunger. They couldn't even let him eat before the expulsion. Magic use burns calories he doesn't have to spare. Then he remembers his grandfather's survival wisdom from childhood stories. Tree bark in desperate times. Ed attempts to ignite wood, shouting desperately until flames finally erupt. The steam rises. It almost resembles chicken. Ed attacks his makeshift meal with desperate enthusiasm, chewing with satisfaction, until his body violently rejects the bark. The sound effects tell the story. URK, followed by BLERCH, as his stomach rebels against the unconventional nutrition. Day 3 etched into wood marks his struggles. Holding twigs like lifelines, he whispers grandfather, with newfound respect for survival wisdom. After days of starvation and violent sickness, Ed reaches a profound conclusion, which should only be used as building material. The forest surrounds him as he focuses on construction. Try to erect a frame with 4 posts but only 2 hands. His movements tremble with effort and malnutrition. The clatter of falling supports echoes his frustration. This isn't easy. Ed grimaces through the pain, his face contorted with effort as he pushes his weakened body beyond its limits. Ugh, GH, he grunts, finally managing to complete the base frame of his shelter. He can't sleep on bare dirt after all. Despite his exhaustion, there's still so much work ahead. Tattered blankets flop to the ground. The sounds of night construction echo through the darkness. Thud, clack, thud. Birds chirp in the bright morning sky as Ed sits beside his completed wooden shelter, finally allowing himself a moment of relief. It's finally done, he sighs, exhaustion and pride mixing in his voice. A notification appears. His crafting skill has increased. The surprise on his face is almost comical as he exclaims, "The system works just like in the game." but his growling stomach reminds him of more pressing needs. Ed stares at his crafting notification in amazement. Level 4 in handicraft already. His smirk betrays his satisfaction until his stomach interrupts with a demanding growl. The construction completed. Notice shows his makeshift harpoon, proof of his growing skills. But crafting abilities won't fill his empty belly. His arms spread wide in desperate frustration as he shouts his deepest desire: actual food. Desperation drives him beyond his physical limits. Ed raises his sword high above the water, the sound of fwish and growl marking his intense focus. 2 days without food should have left him immobilized, but sheer desperation keeps him moving. "I want to eat fish," he declares with fierce determination. "Ignite! Ignite!" he shouts repeatedly until flames finally roar to life beneath his catch. Ed bites down on a stick, his face twisted in pain as he exclaims, "H!" If he can endure just one more week, classes will resume and normalcy might return. But a girl with flowing hair suddenly appears, her intense gaze fixed on him. "You!" she interrupts urgently. Ed's startled expression meets her questioning stare as she holds delicate flowers. "Ed Rothstaylor?" she asks, recognition dawning. In the Academy's dimly lit halls, confrontation brews. The blonde figure in the red coat commands with authority, demanding the other person leave the Academy immediately. Their lack of remorse is infuriating. A regal figure in white adds their disdain to the chorus of condemnation. The dark-haired woman's imposing presence fills the corridor. "You still haven't left this place?" The question hangs like a threat. This is Ed Rothstaylor's origin story as a villain. He tried to use his noble status to harass Isla, the protagonist's childhood friend, tampering with entrance exams to prevent Academy admission. His devious smirk reveals the depth of his scheming. But his plans crumbled when an unexpected observer caught him red-handed. Peenia Elias Crowell, the third princess of the Crowell Empire. Her confident posture speaks of absolute authority. Princess Peenia activates her most dangerous weapon, her insightful eyes, a power that reveals all deceptions and hidden truths. Ed's desperate face shows panic and wild fear as he swears his innocence. But lies cannot hide from Peenia's glowing orange gaze. The Grand Academy chamber witnesses his downfall. Her silver hair flows like liquid moonlight as she prepares to expose every scheme, every deception. Ed tries to explain his technicality, still a student, just expelled from the dormitories. But Princess Peenia's fury knows no bounds. Her elegant white dress with red accents can't soften her harsh decree. "Get out." Her disdain burns like acid as she vows to speak directly to the headmaster. His immediate expulsion from the Academy itself will follow. No mercy for the despicable. The princess condemns him for deceiving fellow students and attempting to destroy someone's future. But Ed's mind fixates on a more immediate crisis, his precious food burning to ash after 3 days of starvation. His survival hinges on avoiding expulsion, and Princess Peenia wields the power to end his academic life with a single conversation. The imperial family's influence could crush him completely. In the dense, eerie forest, Ed smirks with dark amusement as he contemplates the princess venturing alone into this desolate wilderness. Isla warns him with magical energy crackling around her white hair. Harassment will bring regret. But Ed's response surprises everyone, including himself. "Actually, I'm incredibly grateful to you, Your Highness." His tone suggests something deeper than mere gratitude. Princess Peenia's elegant features show surprise at Ed's unexpected gratitude, though a subtle smirk plays at her lips. Ed isn't lying. Her insightful eyes would detect any deception. The narration reveals the dark history of House Rothstaylor, a powerful noble family that abused their position, exploiting people and even desecrating human remains in their twisted quest for immortality. Meanwhile, his burned fish notification provides comedic relief to the grim revelations. Ed's expression shifts to determined resolve as he formulates his strategy. "So, all I need to do is persuade Peenia without deceit. The stakes couldn't be higher. Expulsion means game over, literal death to his hopes. The timeline is critical. Ed was recently disowned, and the semester looms ahead. He observes Peenia in her simple white dress, noting her lack of guards. She must be taking the class assignment examination. The notification appears, Professor Glass class assignment examination, notorious for its brutal difficulty. The brown-haired boy expresses concern, but the determined blonde girl with princess authority retorts about her royal expectations for Class A admission. When Ed threatens to notify the Academy about her potential failure without his help, shock and raw emotion cross her face. The manipulation has begun.
Ed delivers his calculated threat with dark amusement. You should have me expelled. The scene shifts to the serene lake in the southeastern forest, where gentle splashes mark the princess's careful steps into the water. The small grass-covered island holds a magnificent tree at its center, the guardian tree of Merilda. Ed's voice guides her toward his promised gift, creating an atmosphere of mystery and manipulation. Princess Peenia holds a glowing orb in her elegant hands, curiosity and intrigue mixing in her expression as sunlight filters through the forest. The narrative reflects on the transformation. 3 days ago, Ed Rothstaylor was a lying cheater with a disgraceful demeanor. But the Ed she just encountered seems completely different. As a formal voice announces the examination's end, a grand palace comes into view, marking a pivotal transition. Professor Glass commands the grand examination hall, his formal black suit adorned with gold as he sternly demands to see the students' collected marbles. 4 nervous students present their findings: magic marbles, cookies, a shiny orb. His expression darkens with disappointment as he assigns them all to Class F. Only those who found marbles with low mana levels can achieve Class. Ziggs watches intently, determination burning in his eyes. Lordle stands with supreme confidence, her long red hair and vibrant green eyes commanding attention in the sunlit academy setting. The blonde girl acknowledges her position as top of the class, respect and rivalry mingling in the air. A dramatic voice reveals the crucial discovery: the marble hidden by the guardian tree of Amelia, protected by an ancient entity. A shabby fishing rod notification adds a lighter touch to the mounting tension. Ed sits in contemplative pose, sword in one hand while resting his chin in the other, his light blonde hair catching the palace lighting. The narrative shifts to Princess Peenia Elias Crowell, sitting pensively on the opulent floor in her red skirt and black top. Her insightful eyes miss nothing. Ed couldn't help but provide her with genuine information. But now the complications begin, threatening to unravel the original storyline. The Princess of Benevolence, a title Peenia will earn in the future through crushing defeat during her class assignment examination. She was meant to be assigned to Class F and deeply humbled by the experience. But if she discovers the golden marble and achieves Class A instead, the original plot crumbles. Ed's worried expression reveals the weight of his dilemma. Has his knowledge become useless? Ed's introspection turns grim. In other words, I be screwed. The scene shifts to Lucy Mayriel, the true top of the class, her golden hair cascading past her shoulders as she stands in her red blazer and white blouse. Her determined, yet concerned expression carries the weight of expectation. She possesses an ability that always discerns truth, and that power now focuses on the marble situation with intense scrutiny. The girl in the white dress reflects on Ed's information, her hand clutching the glowing marble as conflicted emotions war within her. She stands beneath the magnificent tree, understanding that this is no gift, it's a burden. The princess's embarrassment about her privileged status drives her desire to achieve success on her own merits. But she could never take the marble for herself, knowing the implications. The future Princess of Benevolence stands in her white dress as Lucy receives praise for her bravery and skills. Ed's manipulation becomes clear. He baited the princess with the knowledge that without his help, she could never join Class A. Her ability to discern lies makes her perception dangerous, but even Ed's truthfulness couldn't guarantee a positive outcome. The complexity of trust and honesty creates dangerous undercurrents. Princess Peenia's frustration explodes as she punches the ornate palace wall, creating a massive crack with the force of her anger. Water splashes violently, reflecting her emotional turmoil. Her failed class assignment prevented entry to Class A, just as Ed accurately predicted. Her fierce golden eyes burn with determination as she declares, "I'll be keeping an eye on you, Ed Rothstaylor." Yet she found herself powerless to change the outcome.
A fish sparkles and flaps wildly as Ed triumphantly shouts "Gotcha!" from the water. The scene transitions to serene morning light filtering through green branches and distant hills. A figure in a red jacket sprints down the forest path, breathing heavily with determination. Even if it means waking at dawn and running the entire distance from his forest shelter, Ed will make it to school on time. Ed exhales sharply, sweat beading on his forehead from the desperate sprint. His tousled blonde hair frames a face filled with surprise and contemplation as he processes this momentous achievement. I made it. I've returned. He breathes with triumphant exhilaration. The beautiful scenery of flowering trees and classical architecture welcomes him back. Petals drift through the bustling courtyard as students in red jackets fill the space. The grand dining hall buzzes with the opening ceremony as a voice welcomes students back with bright faces ready for a new semester. Ed sits confidently at his table, savoring a lavish meal of steak and vegetables, his fork clinking against the plate. Harsh whispers follow him. How dare he show his face here after his disgrace? But Ed appears unbothered, eating with the confidence of someone who survived the impossible.
Students discuss the second year who behaved so shamefully during the entrance exam, surprised by how much he's eating and the different impression he gives up close. A pink-haired girl with a ribbon observes while another suggests trying the chef's desserts. Clara enthusiastically agrees to go together. The mood shifts to hope as a girl reflects on her bright future. It's opening day at Silvenia Academy, a chance for fresh beginnings.
The semester opening continues in the grand auditorium as the speaker welcomes returning students. Outside the ominous dean's office door, Ed stands anxiously, white hair marking his worry about the near expulsion. Despite his fears, the dean seemed cheerful, suggesting Princess Peenia reported something positive about him. The relief in his expression tells everything. It was a close call, but somehow he survived to fight another day. Ed's mind races with a single crucial thought. He can't stray from the game plot. Not now. His survival skills and basic magic training need a unifying focus. And he's found it. The bow. As his arrow strikes near a rabbit, the pieces click together. This weapon bridges both worlds perfectly. A confident student brandishes his sword, while confusion spreads across another's face. Under the majestic white tree, a girl with red ribbons contemplates matters beyond her expertise. The nameplate reveals everything. Yennecar Pale Rover, top of second year, genius elementalist. Some talents simply can't be ignored. Ebenecar Palarox appears like a ghost from the forest, her playful smile masking deeper knowledge. Ed's basket nearly drops as she mentions the high-ranking spirit Marilda. His anxiety spikes. Has the spirit been watching him? Discussing him? In this mystical forest, nothing stays hidden for long. In the grand auditorium's warmth, Ebenecar holds her white rabbit, confessing to past violence with surprising cheerfulness. Her companion reassures her about the circle of life. They share a laugh about judging scary-looking wolves. Then her eyes light up. She has something special to show him. The sparkling object in Ebenecar's hands holds secrets. She's made a spirit contract. But when she offers to let him hold her spirit, Ed's world crumbles. His thoughts race in panic. He can't see spirits. How can he get closer to Yennecar if he can't share her mystical world? Ebenecar's shock is palpable. He can't see spirits? Ed brushes off the revelation, claiming he needs to forage, walking away with forced confidence. But his mind churns with darker thoughts. Yennecar Pale Rover, crucial to the game plot, is someone he must avoid at all costs. Ebenecar's words echo ominously as she follows Ed through the verdant forest. Her comment about judging wolves cuts deep. Suddenly, a massive white wolf materializes beside a white-haired girl. The spirit questions Ed's true nature while he remains oblivious to its presence. Who is he, really? Ebenecar touches her chin thoughtfully, dismissing Ed's cold response. She's not discouraged. They'll meet again. She has time to understand him. As the serene lake stretches before her on the map, she calculates the distance to her classes. Patience, that's all she needs. Ed's routine is grueling. Huffing through the forest, scraping notes on stone slabs, scrubbing his sweat-stained uniform by the stream. His determination shows in every exhausted breath. While Abinakar watches from the shadows, he pushes forward, hoping his uniform dries by morning. Shirtless and examining wooden structures, Ed notices missing pieces. But Abinakar's been watching longer than he thought. Her sudden confrontation startles him. She knew he was aware of her presence all along. His shocked reaction betrays how obvious he'd been. The forest holds no secrets from her.
Ed's frustration boils over as he defends against others' opinions. But Abinakar's gentle smile reveals her truth. She doesn't know him well enough yet. He recognizes her naive nature, her strong beliefs. Yet darkness surrounds her image. The princess holds secrets that could destroy everything. The narrator's heart breaks for Yennecar, knowing her tragic future. Swirling pink and red chaos frames her ominous figure, the final boss of Act 1. She smiles at the worst moments. Meanwhile, Ed's guilt consumes him as he repeats his villain status, preparing to ask a desperate favor.
Abinakar's excitement explodes at the mention of a favor. But Ed's request cuts to his shameful core. He's broke, disowned, desperate. His shirtless form reveals both physical and emotional vulnerability as he begs for money. Her smile suggests help, but her status as top student carries its own burdens.
Her weakness? Money. Ed stands on the dirt path, uncertainty written across his face. Yennecar's image fragments, crumbling as she apologizes with disturbing cheerfulness. Out of funds, a single tear rolls down Ed's cheek as the harsh reality hits. 3 days later, hope might return.
Ed clutches his rabbit puppet, justifying his isolation. This way, he won't entangle with the main characters. But as he bends to forage, a thunderous thud shatters the forest peace. His startled cry echoes through the trees. What force just invaded his carefully constructed sanctuary? Yennecar jolts awake, arms stretching in alarm. But it's not the nervous boys that concern her. It's the noise disturbing her sleep. The blond boy protests his innocence while she points behind him. A massive wolf materializes, its magical aura pulsing through the clearing. Terror and wonder collide. The mystical wolf appears in ethereal blue tones, its piercing eyes holding ancient wisdom. The young man urgently translates its message. It's asking Ed to save Yennecar in the future. The sound effects heighten the drama as a supernatural partnership forms. But what catastrophe lies ahead? The blue fox spirit shimmers with otherworldly light, its message crystal clear. But Ed's confusion deepens. He sees nothing where others witness miracles. The mystical forest setting amplifies the disconnect between sight and reality. How can he save someone when he's blind to the supernatural forces at play? Ed's sanctuary has been invaded. Yennecar, sleeping in his shelter, destroys his careful isolation plans. Her finger to her lips demands silence while he shakes his head in frustration. The narrative reveals Lucy's cat-like abilities, floating above magical circles. His worst nightmare, entanglement, has arrived.
A silver-haired figure in red watches from the rooftops, contemplating destinations. The scene shifts to the tranquil northern forest of Achen Island, where streams babble and birds sing. Ed sits with Yennecar, who yawns against a tree. The breeze is cool, the setting peaceful, yet tension lingers beneath the surface.
Ed's frustration explodes. Yesterday's perfect napping spot has become his curse. The sky stretches endlessly above as magical energy swirls in purple chaos. His panic intensifies. He needs to act. Meanwhile, another figure flops dramatically in the clearing after using high-level magic while drowsy. Ed works on his snare trap while the absolute beast beside him threatens the entire storyline. Lucy asks for jerky with innocent hunger, but he refuses sharply. Her mischievous nature shines as she snatches something anyway, exclaiming about the interesting taste. She never listens to warnings. The swirling background suggests deep revelation. Yennekar's playful gesture masks serious intelligence as she reveals her discovery. Maids from Awfulest Hall searching for Ed. Her witch's hat adds to the mystique, while Ed's confusion deepens. The forest keeps no secrets from those who know how to listen. Ed remembers something urgent, his nervous crouch betraying anxiety. Lucy spins away with a cheerful farewell, her red cloak billowing as she makes her swift exit. The explosion follows immediately, kaboom, as chaos erupts. Ed reflects on her speed while dormitory maids chase their elusive target.
Ed's contemplative smile reflects on Lucy Mayriel's brief camp visit. Only 2 days, but it felt longer. He encourages himself back to work, walking the forest path with renewed purpose. The realization hits hard. He'd grown too comfortable. A new quest awaits, joint combat training.
The arena erupts with thunderous cheers as combat training begins. Students clash on sparring mats while a red uniformed fighter delivers a powerful slash. Safety restrictions limit everyone. Practice weapons only, basic magic, no dangerous potions. The tournament bracket promises one-on-one battles regardless of year or department. The main characters assemble with dynamic energy swirling around them. Yennekar the Elementalist stands confidently beside Princess Peenia and Lordle the Golden Daughter. Ziggs radiates natural power while the lazy Lucy lurks nearby. But among this constellation of protagonists, one stands above all, the failed Swordmaster, Taylor. Golden aura surrounds the dark-haired warrior's sword as power radiates through the arena. A blonde boy's gentle smile offers reassurance while explosive green magic swirls through the training area. The cloaked figure commands respect as first-year students dominate the victories. All except one. Yennekar, Pale Rover approaches with cheerful enthusiasm, offering the tournament bracket. Ed's indifference masks his growing anxiety about facing unknown opponents. His shock deepens as reality hits. He must actually fight. The educational setting can't contain his mounting dread about the battles ahead. The announcer's voice echoes through the grand arena as names ring out. Lucy Mayriel shows concern, while Taylor McClure steps forward in his striking red blazer, anxiety written across his features. Another student proclaims his determination to give his very best, regardless of his opponent. The waiting room beckons.
The protagonist reflects on countless playthroughs, each ending seared into memory. From heartbreaking failures to triumphant victories, Taylor's journey shaped everything. The game over screen haunts him. How many times had he chosen to play again? In this digital realm of infinite possibility, nothing was ever easy. Ed's starry eyes burn with determination as he roots for Taylor, tears threatening to fall. But urgency strikes. Lucy Mayriel's name echoes through the arena unanswered. Where is she? Taylor groggily awakens, hair disheveled, responding with confused sounds as someone frantically tries to wake her for her turn. Panic spreads as the duel hangs in balance. The blonde boy pleads desperately while Lucy complains about hunger, demanding jerky. The serious figure watches grimly as Lucy Mayriel finally prepares for battle. If this duel doesn't happen, they're all in trouble. Time is running out. The arena holds its breath as destiny unfolds. The dark-haired protagonist stands ready, born to become a swordmaster despite never holding a blade. In one impossible moment, he cuts through Lucy's lightning-fast magic. Her silver hair frames her shocked expression as disbelief washes over her face. Lucy's lightning spell crashes with devastating force, filling the arena with blinding energy. The modern arena's curved walls echo with the impact as Taylor braces against the magical assault. But victory turns to disqualification. Lucy's reflexive intermediate-level spell breaks the tournament rules. Shock ripples through both fighters. Taylor's excitement explodes as he shouts, "Begin!" with passionate determination. Lucy stands in dramatic shadows, flames engulfing her weapons like harbingers of doom. The grand arena watches as he pumps his fists, ready for battle. The rush of movement follows, boom, as combat erupts with earth-shaking intensity. Boom! The explosion tears through the arena as magical energy bursts in chaotic brilliance.
The light-haired duelist channels devastating power while spectators watch in stunned silence. The blonde boy gulps nervously as wind swirls around the struggling figure in a large hat. The very air crackles with unleashed magic.
The dark-haired fighter reflects with surprising defeat in his voice. Lucy's reputation as a prodigious student proves itself in devastating fashion. The narrative reveals Taylor McClure's harsh origins, a failed countryside student bearing countless hardships. His gloved hand trembles, gripping the wooden sword with desperate determination.
In Lucy's lightning's aftermath, Taylor crouches in his worn cloak, fatigue marking his features. Everyone expects his defeat, pity filling their eyes. But the blonde supporter's unwavering belief shines through as he encourages Taylor. That voice, that faith, it ignites something deeper than mere determination. Taylor launches forward with explosive force, the whoosh of his movement capturing every student's heart. His determination becomes infectious, spreading through the arena like wildfire. Lucy's serious expression shifts to surprise as he shouts her name with unwavering resolve. The clash of wills begins now. The red-uniformed fighter channels energy as surprise ripples through the battlefield. A weapon screeches through the air with devastating precision. Movement blurs, swoosh, as two orange-clad figures flinch in terror. One screams in panic while a fearsome roar echoes through the arena. The stakes have never been higher. The dark-haired warrior moves with impossible speed through the air, his momentum carrying him upward. Pow! The impact reverberates as he crashes through barriers with devastating force. His wide-eyed realization strikes like lightning itself. That wasn't lightning magic. The truth changes everything he thought he knew. In the grand stone hall, Lucy Mayriel stands victorious, her silver hair flowing beneath her mysterious hat. The announcement echoes triumphantly while crowds roar their approval. Taylor sits defeated in his red jacket, disbelief etching his features. Nearby, a dark-haired observer watches with wide-eyed shock at the outcome. The winner's name reverberates through the arena as reality crashes down on Taylor. Lost. His frozen shock speaks volumes while Lucy's triumph shines in the spotlight. The crowd's roar drowns out his confusion as another blonde character watches in surprised distress. Victory and defeat, separated by mere moments. The red-clad victor stands over his defeated opponent, the overwhelming difference in power painfully evident. Lightning can strike hope down in an instant. When faced with an impassable wall, despair follows quickly. Each echoing footstep builds tension as the storm's blessing hints at hidden strategies yet to unfold. Marilda's ethereal form shimmers with high-level wind magic as the dark-haired boy playfully asks for jerky. The revelation strikes hard. Lucy's contract with Marilda changed everything after staying at Ed's camp. Now the announcer calls the next fighters, Ed Rothstaylor versus Princess Paina Elias Coble. The stakes just escalated. The silver-haired girl's concern cuts deep. Ed should have taken the sword for confidence, but he lost because of her interference. The brown-haired boy expresses regret while insisting this isn't the end. A red-clad figure rushes toward Taylor, calling his name urgently as he commands them to halt. The white-haired character stands dramatically, forecasting hell instead of joy ahead. His dark-haired companion attempts comfort, praising his efforts and blaming bad bracket luck. But frustration explodes as the blonde fighter rails against bearing burdens meant for others. The arena setting amplifies their emotional confrontation. Emperor Croel's regal presence fills the palace as he acknowledges Penia's divine blessings. His golden crown catches light while explaining her rare ability to discern lies. The palace's treacherous environment of betrayal demands such gifts. Penia sits on the floor, her fierce expression radiating readiness for whatever schemes surround her. Princess Penia's unwavering confidence shines even in dark abysses. Three shadowy figures observe her with concealed malice while she maintains her facade of ignorance. Ed faces her with honor, generating earth-shaking intensity. Their eyes meet as Penia mirrors his sentiment. Mutual respect forms between two warriors who understand the weight of their impending battle. The whispers cut deeper than any blade. Students share their cruel assessments of Ed Rothstaylor's past. His humiliation of younger students, his underhanded tactics when status failed him. The silver-haired girl reflects solemnly while Ed stands vulnerable in his striking red and black outfit. But amidst the emotional turmoil, a blonde figure maintains perfect composure. A storm of judgment swirls around Ed's reputation. Fierce amber eyes blaze with passion as the blonde girl erupts in defense. The arena transforms into a battleground of emotions as the distressed boy in the red suit pleads desperately about not despairing over trivial matters. His anguish over Taylor becomes palpable. When the duel is announced to begin, another voice cuts through, denouncing Ed Rothstaylor as nothing but a distraction. Battle preparations intensify as Princess Penia declares her intent to end this conflict once and for all. Magical energy swirls around her silver hair as she prepares her devastating attack. Ed considers his strategy, wind and fire magic at his disposal. His piercing blue eyes focus sharply as he contemplates how to block her impending assault. The arena crackles with anticipation. Thwack! The unseen attack lands with devastating force. Crash! Ed is thrown backward against the surface, his white shirt torn from impact. Princess Penia raises her hand defensively, confusion flooding her features. The fallen figure admits defeat, but wait. The male figure with striking blue eyes laughs triumphantly, revealing he orchestrated this entire exchange. Victory tastes sweet on his lips. The crowd erupts as spectators declare this defeat even worse than Yevis. The light-haired boy expresses gratitude, claiming he learned much from the duel. But Princess Penia's silver hair frames her serious expression as a terrible realization dawns. Throughout the entire confrontation, he never once met her eyes directly. The winner is announced, but she understands now. He never intended to fight at all. Panic floods the blonde boy's features as he declares he has no time for duels. Princess Penia holds incredible importance in this game's timeline, but someone matters even more. The cloaked figure reveals the truth. Taylor, the protagonist of this world, surpasses even royalty in significance. Desperation creeps into his voice as he searches for Taylor's whereabouts. A girl with piercing eyes suddenly exclaims Ed's name. Princess Penia's frustration explodes as she confronts the deception. Her silver hair whips around her red and black outfit as she accuses him of never intending to fight properly, only seeking escape from the stage. The disheveled young man in white defensively claims ignorance. But Penia's real burden surfaces, overwhelming classwork and a rival merchant girl trying to seize control of the academy through money-making schemes. The brown-haired boy in blue confronts her directly, demanding to know who she thinks she is to keep distracting him like this. Her life proves far more complicated than he ever expected. The princess in red places a calming hand on his shoulder, encouraging deep breaths to ease his agitation. Their heavy breathing fills the ornate room as tension gives way to unexpected intimacy. The blonde girl in her red jacket covers her face in embarrassment, admitting she should simply ask people about her suspicions instead of jumping to conclusions. The light brown-haired boy reassures her, sharing how his palace upbringing has shaped his behavior. But then she intensifies the confrontation, accusing him of bullying Taylor deliberately to create grounds for his own disownment. The foreboding castle looms behind their tense discussion. Sweat beads on the blonde boy's determined face as he acknowledges her sharp deduction. Half wrong, but House Rothstaylor does indeed harbor dark secrets. The second boy erupts in frustration, demanding to know why he would try cheering up Taylor if he truly wanted him expelled. The first boy's reply chills the air. He encouraged Taylor simply to make fun of him. The confrontation reaches its breaking point. Insightful Eyes activates as Princess Penia's fury reaches its peak. She shouts in exasperation while the brown-haired boy's nose comically elongates, emphasizing his obvious dishonesty. Her fiery powers attempt to manifest, but produce only a small whoosh of flame, showcasing her complete frustration. The Grand Royal Room witnesses this breakdown as he tells her she may leave, mixing resignation with caution. The platinum blonde girl in red crosses her arms impatiently, noting how he keeps staring at the door in obvious haste. The brown-haired boy remains silent, anxiety written across his turned-away face. Internal thoughts reveal Princess Penia's unusual behavior. Something has clearly escalated beyond normal bounds. He reflects that adding himself to this equation became the final straw that broke everything apart. Penia's anxiety becomes visible as the light brown-haired boy expresses concern for her exhaustion, encouraging her to take things easier. She reflects seriously on the difference between this academy and the imperial court, where constant vigilance was required. A close-up of her intense eye reveals her internal struggle. For someone who spent her entire life seeing through lies, feeling uncertain marks a devastating turning point. The blonde boy's contemplation turns desperate as he realizes the catastrophic stakes. If Taylor gives up now, both his leisurely lifestyle and the entire world might crumble. Sweat trickles down his worried features as he wonders what to tell him. Meanwhile, the boy in red adopts a defensive stance, weapon gleaming as he shouts for the other to stay back. The Grand Hall becomes a battleground of opposing wills. Ilatrice bursts into the scene with dramatic flair, her hair flowing as she gestures commandingly. Her school uniform and red cape billow with determined energy as she confronts Ed Rothstaylor directly. Her vivid green eyes blaze with protective fury as she demands he stop bullying Taylor. The sunset casts warm light behind her, contrasting sharply with the intensity of her intervention. She declares Taylor has suffered enough without Ed's interference. Wide eyes reflect surprise as Ed processes the statement about still attending the academy. The platinum blonde girl in red appears imposing beside him while a dark-haired boy in a red sweater walks with a girl in revealing attire. Their determined expressions convey resolve as they navigate the challenges ahead. Ed reflects on recognizing that unbending willpower burning in familiar eyes, the strength that defines a true protagonist. The dark-haired character in his red coat radiates authority as he encourages Taylor not to give up. The pale-haired girl beside him looks motivated yet anxious as his words sink in. Meanwhile, the spiky-haired boy questions the blonde's business with him, noting his impressive sword-fighting skills. The blonde boy reflects introspectively, suggesting a moment of vulnerability as he contemplates being honest with himself. The animated sunset frames their complex, emotional exchange. The blonde boy's anxious thoughts reveal his internal struggle. He had focused solely on his own survival, leaving world-saving to Taylor. But something changed when relief flooded through him. Not because of the unfolding chaos, but because Taylor, the person he'd spent so much time with, was doing well. His smile emerges as he remembers their shared moments. Soft footsteps echo as an unknown figure approaches, adding mystery to the scene. The white-haired girl questions why he's acting so cool, while the black-haired boy beside her shows disgust. Ed Rothstaylor turns away in isolation, framed by the large wooden door and dark surroundings. Suddenly, a thunderous boom reverberates through the corridor, followed by the whoosh of flames. A puzzled boy in uniform appears, questioning if it's already that time. Chaos erupts in the academy halls. Fire explodes across the battle arena, with a devastating whoosh as the duel intensifies. A character casts spells with glowing hands, magical energy crackling around them. The red-haired girl moves swiftly across a sheet of ice she's created, her determined expression highlighted by the whoosh of her movement. Ice formations spread ominously as the narrator introduces this crucial scene, the duel between Lordle, the Golden Daughter, and her formidable opponent. The dramatic crack echoes across the beautiful icy landscape as the battle reaches its climax. The pink-haired girl with red ribbons looks concerned but resolute while the boy in red and black offers reassurance to Taylor. His serious expression encourages taking a good look at what's unfolding. The brown-haired boy's wide eyes reflect fear and surprise as Yennecar the Elementalist is revealed, one of the many hardships Taylor must overcome. Yennecar Pale Rover stands revealed as the final boss of the first act, flames exploding around her commanding presence. The confident figure with light purple hair smirks victoriously while the crowd erupts in celebration. Cheers fill the air as they praise Yennecar, the only second year to beat a first year, the top of her class, amazing at spirit magic. She responds graciously with a charming smile, basking in the adoration and camaraderie of her triumphant moment. The white-haired girl urgently calls for people to make way as a patient is rushed through on a stretcher. The hectic medical emergency unfolds while a shadowed figure praises Yennecar as the pride of the second years. The narration elaborates on her position and recent experiences, hinting at a defeat that has garnered attention during combat training. Close-up shots of Yennekar's features convey the immense pressure and expectations weighing upon her shoulders.
The muscular blonde approaches an ominous doorway, his careful steps echoing in the night. He reflects on not seeing a certain girl at his camp soon, allowing him to focus on studies and survival. The starry night sky frames his contemplation of 2 weeks of joint combat training. He discovers a fishing net on rocky terrain, grateful for sustainable food sources. Swimming in striped shorts, he observes his strengthened physique, determined not to become complacent despite his progress. The pink-haired girl blushes furiously as she covers her face, asking if Ed enjoys walking around half-naked. Her wide red eyes reflect pure embarrassment while Ed, unfazed in his white unbuttoned shirt, defensively explains he was just swimming. She expresses her desire to talk more and seek his advice while he questions her presence in this secluded area. The flickering campfire creates intimacy as she describes her visit feeling like an adventure amid their nervous curiosity. The red-haired girl lies on a bed, her serious expression heavy with guilt as she confesses to injuring someone. The scene shifts to Ed contemplating the magic duel rules. Her opponent used intermediate magic first, technically breaking regulations. But Yennekar's kind-hearted nature wouldn't find comfort in technicalities. By the campfire, she expresses persistent worry about going too far, while Ed listens attentively and encourages her to apologize if that's what she needs. Yennekar sits cross-legged in her school uniform, pastel pink hair tied with a red ribbon as she reflects on her situation. The dim lighting creates intimacy as she acknowledges that while friends consistently support her, it doesn't excuse personal accountability. Ed listens attentively, expressing understanding that he knew she was different. Their conversation flows between playful gestures and sincere moments, revealing a budding friendship built on honesty rather than blind support. The girl with heterochromatic eyes expresses complete indifference, noting how different the blonde boy appears from last year. He sits contemplatively under the starlit night, muscular and lost in thought while holding something in his hands. She reflects on finding relief in seeing him this way, wishing everyone in the world could experience such peace. The serene atmosphere and gentle starlight create a moment of profound tranquility between them.
A grand academic building stands majestically under blue skies as the anxious blonde boy in red approaches its entrance. His troubled expression reflects his stress as he contemplates the challenging nature of Silvenia's, a game notorious for devastating new players with various bad endings. Digital screens showcase the dire consequences awaiting unprepared players, while pixelated characters display shock at the unfolding perilous scenarios. The Academy looms ominously ahead. Darkness engulfs the scene as various bad endings are revealed through ominous shadows and betrayal. A silhouetted figure stands with arms outstretched in failed salvation as the stark red text, "You died," dominates the visual impact. The consequences of wrong choices manifest in devastating outcomes. Taylor assassinated, Isla falling to her death, Taylor burned alive. The confused blonde boy questions the red-haired girl who urgently demands he listen to her warnings. In the opulent hallway, Lord Elka makes her dramatic entrance. Her vibrant red hair frames her confident smirk as she announces her intent to ignore someone completely. The Golden Daughter, one of Silvenia's 4 female leads and the notorious newbie Shredder, declares her desire to purchase 2 hours of Ed Rothstaylor's time. Her mischievous grin reveals the calculated nature of this seemingly simple transaction. The red-haired girl stands defiantly with hands on her hips, contrasting sharply with a light blonde girl in white. Unlike other characters, Lordle's route reveals itself as villainous from the very beginning. A tense moment erupts as the male character shouts no, while a whoosh suggests sudden realization. The red-haired girl steels herself against persuasive words, determined not to let any silver tongue sway her current resolve. The blonde boy in red stands resolute before Lordle, expressing his desire to help despite her hesitations. She appears flustered and defensive, caught off guard by his insistence on listening. When he mentions hearing rumors about her cockiness, she laughs it off, suggesting unexpected camaraderie. The mood shifts as she dramatically praises his strength, while mentioning her proposal involving 3 gold coins, introducing a transactional element to their complex relationship. A shiny gold coin glints in the light as its significant value, a month's wages for hard-working people, becomes clear. The blonde character acknowledges their socioeconomic positions, while the red-haired Lordle explains the importance of building alliances. She places her hand on his arm as they lean closer together, the lean and slip effect suggesting shifting physical proximity. Money becomes the tool for connections in their charged exchange about power and strategy. In the opulent hallway, Lordle's cunning strategy unfolds as she anticipates her future political battle against Princess Pina for Academy control. Her confident smirk reveals her awareness of the intricate schemes at play. The blonde young man extends his hand for a handshake, confirming their strategic alliance while she mirrors the gesture. Their clasped hands symbolize the beginning of a partnership built on mutual ambition and calculated cooperation. Lordle's confidence radiates as she explains how easily desperate people can be controlled. Simple coins become devastating weapons against those pushed to the edge. Her smirk reveals the cruel methodology behind her schemes as she reflects on past attempts. The shadowy male figure lurks in the background while she contemplates the coin, symbolizing shallow temptations and moral corruption. But her expression shifts. This time, unfortunately, her manipulation didn't work as planned. The blonde boy stands with head bowed, reflecting on the significant choice he refused to make. Accepting that money would have improved his situation dramatically, but he recognizes the danger of altering the main storyline. The red-haired girl maintains her tense posture near the ornate entrance while he contemplates the terrifying potential of combining the newbie shredder with Yennecar. The Gothic building looms under starlight, emphasizing the weight of his decision. In the dimly lit room, Yennecar greets Lordle with her elegant robe and silvery ponytail, while Lordle sports her fiery red hair and light blue dress. Lordle comments playfully on Yennecar's different hairstyle, as Yennecar's serious expression reveals her intrigue. She reflects on Ed's rejection, igniting her determination, her piercing green eyes mixing ambition with cunning intent. The backdrop of past conflicts, particularly her forbidden magic use during training, adds weight to their encounter. The mysterious atmosphere thickens as Lordle engages with the pink-haired girl in braids. Lordle appears confident despite hints of concern about her unhealed wounds, while the other girl smirks softly, attempting to gauge the top second-year student's strength. As they discuss Lordle's failed conversation with Ed, the mood shifts when Lordle questions her intentions. The mention of spirits introduces mystical undertones, intensifying the scene's complexity and strategic maneuvering. Anxiety floods Lordle's expressive green eyes as she questions the implications, caught in an ethereal glow suggesting magical manipulation. She holds up 2 gold coins as evidence of her willingness to invest in friendship, but the blonde boy in his sharp red suit grins with charming mockery. His confident hand extends as he delivers a cutting truth. Sincerity cannot be purchased with money. The mystical environment pulses with tension and underlying manipulation. A character holds 2 coins while reflecting on Ed's more touching gesture from the past. The pink-haired girl with her red ribbon apologizes for seeming arrogant, expressing her desire to reevaluate her perception of another girl. As she prepares to leave for her spirit contract preparations, she mentions the support she's received and her determination to do her best. The dimly lit setting frames Yennecar's moment of self-reflection about her fairy tale protagonist ideals. In the ornate room's soft shadows, Lordle's frustration becomes apparent as she comments on someone's difficulty. Her fiery red hair contrasts against her light blue dress, while Yennecar's gentle smile expresses hope for recovery despite knowing the world's darkness. The door's clack emphasizes finality as Lordle reflects on Yennecar's seeming a little off moments ago. The scene captures hope battling against uncertainty in their complex dynamic. The dark-haired girl in her school uniform sits contemplatively in shadow, a voiceover reflecting on high expectations being a good thing. The scene transitions to bright outdoor tranquility with clothes hanging beneath radiant skies. But peace shatters as the white-haired girl sniffs the air suspiciously, followed by an explosion that sends debris flying everywhere. Her frustrated exclamation about just hanging everything up adds comedic relief to the dramatic chaos. Ed looks surprised and anxious as he encounters Belle Maya, the senior maid from Awful's Hall. His sandy blonde hair and round glasses frame his nervous expression while Belle stands confidently in her traditional maid outfit with red ribbon, basket in hand. The lush garden setting creates tranquility as they acknowledge their history, her having kicked him out before. Belle mentions Lady Yennecar while expressing concern about Ed's current living situation, suggesting unexpected camaraderie. The blonde boy in his school uniform appears visibly distracted, eyes wide and drawn elsewhere. The narrative emphasizes the elite maids of Awful's Hall and their impeccable skills, particularly in cooking. Belle holds her basket filled with high-quality foraged ingredients, valuable information unavailable in books. As they move to the serene forest setting, the blonde character gulps nervously, expressing discomfort with formal address, revealing underlying familiarity and emotional connection. The dark-haired maid expresses her reluctance to endure poor treatment, while the young man in white gestures kindly, explaining he cannot treat her poorly given her hard work. His friendly smile creates warmth as he introduces the topic of her basket. The narration reveals that Belle Maya has no direct game scene involvement, meaning extras can interact freely without consequences. The sparkling basket filled with edible treasures hints at its crucial importance. The crafting sequence unfolds as construction completes and skills increase. The newly crafted fish farming net is detailed for keeping caught fish alive for days. A campfire setup features a metal pot as the user thinks ignite. Flames erupt with a satisfying whoosh, demonstrating successful fire magic. Elemental magic levels are displayed. Fire at Ignite level 10, Wind at Wind/level 10. The blonde boy sits contentedly, reflecting on his abundant resources. The serene dusk setting reveals Ed's accomplishment in crafting herbal tea as he reflects on his improved survival efficiency. Sitting on a rock against the vibrant sunset, he sips his tea with a content smile spreading across his face. The warm hues cast peaceful light as he expresses genuine enjoyment of his current situation. A twinkling star appears in the sky with emphasized glint, adding wonder and hope to his reflective moment of satisfaction. A close-up reveals the dark brown-haired character's confusion before a dramatic kaboom explosion shatters the piece. Debris flies everywhere as the blonde boy finds himself caught in the aftermath, disheveled and covered in dust. He coughs violently, wide eyes conveying shock and bewilderment as smoke billows around him. The fading dusk light emphasizes the abruptness of this devastating incident that has completely transformed his tranquil evening. Chaos reigns as debris fills the ravaged area. The light-haired girl in loose white clothing sits defensively amidst destruction, her shocked expression accompanied by labored breathing. Billow, huff. She recalls almost dying in disbelief while the blonde boy recognizes her with startled concern. Shouting, "Lucy?" His expression reveals worry and surprise as he questions how the world's strongest mage could almost die. The devastation frames their tense reunion in this moment of vulnerability. Maya breathes a sigh of relief, her white cape flowing as she recalls her narrow escape. Belle, the menacing maid with clenched fists, had been hunting her down for skipping class. But Maya sensed something deeper in Belle's fury, worry for someone else entirely. Through desperate teleportation magic, she barely avoided what looked like it would be a very painful encounter. Ed's composure shatters as he confronts the pale-haired girl, his jerky gone, blown away by her careless magic. But as his mana depletes completely, he realizes with horror that her magic barrier didn't activate. She's completely defenseless. The dark-haired character beside them clenches his fist, preparing to strike with deadly intent. In the Twilight Library, Ed studies architectural texts with fierce determination. He needs proper lumber, a sturdier house to survive what's coming. The pink-haired librarian apologizes for the late hour, but Ed's focus inspires even her. Every moment counts when you're fighting against time itself. Elka Island introduces herself with cheerful enthusiasm, her pink pigtails bouncing as she greets Ed Rothstaylor. But when he gives his name, that familiar reaction hits: shock, recognition, fear. Ed's reputation precedes him like a shadow. He's grown used to being the villain everyone expects him to be. But Elka surprises him. Her blue eyes widen not with fear, but with curiosity. The rumors painted him as an arrogant fool, yet here he sits, genuinely studying, genuinely trying. She smiles warmly, speaking of someone else who works just as hard. Maybe the rumors really are unreliable. As Elka offers her support, promising to root for Ed, gratitude fills his voice. But their peaceful moment shatters as the room begins to rumble. The building shakes violently. Elka's eyes widen in alarm as an ominous creaking echoes through the library. Something is terribly wrong. Crash! Books and debris rain down as the library trembles. Elka stumbles, her pink hair whipping around her frightened face. The ominous text appears like a death sentence. The final chapter, the fight against Galaskia. The glowing energy pulses with malevolent power. Students gather in ceremonial formation, sensing the approaching catastrophe. 2 hours since disaster struck. The magic circle burns like a wound in the sky as Elka recognizes it from her spirit summoning texts. The silver-haired girl's voice turns grave. It's Glascan, the highest-ranking spirit of darkness. And the summoner? Yennecar Pale Rover, the second-year prodigy whose power has spiraled beyond all control. Taylor McClure raises his hand, his voice cutting through the spectral gloom. They need to breach the building before more casualties mount. Elvira warns them grimly. A high-ranking spirit's barrier won't break easily. Claire nods in agreement, her blonde hair catching the eerie light. They're running out of time, and the headmaster is nowhere to be found. Clevius Nortondale's dark hair frames his anxious face as he voices the impossible plan. Face high-ranking spirits? Infiltrate the building? Take down Yennecar? His voice shakes with the magnitude of their task. The red-haired girl questions their chances against such overwhelming supernatural force. This isn't courage, it's madness. The curly-haired boy's glasses reflect his terror as he screams his refusal. That's suicide. The red-haired girl voices what they're all thinking. Can Yennecar really control this many spirits alone? But the truth chills them further. Most of the power belongs to Velisper. Yennecar is merely a vessel, a medium for something far more sinister. The magic circle looms overhead like doom itself. The tall figure in his dramatic red coat speaks with cold authority. They must decide now. Wait for professors who might arrive too late, or act themselves, knowing they might die. His eyes turn to the blonde princess. Only she has the authority to condemn them all. Princess Peenia stands bathed in the spectral glow, her white hair flowing like silver moonlight. Taylor speaks of shared burdens, but she knows hers are heavier than any crown. The decision tears at her heart. In 1 hour, only the elite will enter that cursed building. Only the strongest will face what lurks inside. The princess squares her shoulders, accepting the weight of leadership. She will take full responsibility for what comes next. But Clevius interrupts with desperate news. They've found survivors. The teaching halls aren't completely empty. His voice cracks with determination as he reveals 2 students still trapped inside the nightmare. Ziggs erupts with raw emotion, his muscular frame trembling. Elka Island. His voice echoes with primal fear. She's trapped in there, defenseless, surrounded by berserking spirits. The purple-haired apprentice librarian shrinks under his intensity. Someone tries to calm him, but nothing can contain a wolf's desperation to protect his pack. The dark-haired leader's face gleams with sweat as doubt creeps in. Can they trust a second year to handle this crisis? The white-haired girl beside him flinches, struggling to voice what she knows. He grabs her, demanding the truth. Her words drop like poison. It's Rothstaylor. The name alone sends shockwaves through their ranks. Taylor's eyes widen in horror at the implications. Rothstaylor, the notorious troublemaker, alone with an innocent girl? The red-haired boy's face contorts with disgust. They know his reputation, his dark history. Taylor raises her hand desperately, trying to restore order as panic threatens to consume them all. In the auditorium's purple glow, fear ripples through the gathering. The blonde girl's worried expression mirrors everyone's thoughts. A shadowy figure lurks in their midst as the word boom explodes across their vision. The princess extends her hand as a red bird flashes past. Two blue creatures roar with primal fury, their sounds echoing like thunder. Ziggs's rage transforms him into something inhuman. His red hair bristles as he declares his promise with savage intensity. If anyone dares harm Elka, he'll tear them apart piece by piece. The sound of slashing fills the air as his fury reaches its peak. Rothstaylor. The name becomes a battle cry. In the northern grasslands, danger stalks every shadow. The dark-haired scout reads the signs, dragon marks fresh on the bark, a trail of destruction recently passed. A furry creature grips the earth with desperate claws while an antlered deer moves with cautious grace. This barbaric land shows no mercy to the unwary. Ziggs stands against the bright sky, knife gleaming in his powerful grip. The sound of stab pierces the air as blood splatters across the ground. This is the legacy of the nomads, descendants of those who wandered the endless grasslands. By the time he could fend for himself, he was utterly alone, abandoned to survive or die. The crowd whispers about the white-haired figure dragging animal carcasses through their midst. They speak of barbaric nomads, of cannibalistic tendencies, of a boy from the northern grasslands who learned to take what he needed from corpses by the wayside. A pink-haired girl approaches him boldly, asking for his name with surprising confidence. Elka's bright smile cuts through his darkness as she playfully compares him to a wolf walking on two legs. Her cheerful demeanor contrasts sharply with his wild appearance. Ziggs reflects on his endless wandering through the northern grasslands, surviving on animal corpses, sleeping under stars. The loneliness was all he knew, until now. Ziggs's green eyes glisten with profound emotion as the truth hits him like a physical blow. For the first time in his life, he understands what loneliness truly means. The white-haired man welcomes him with gentle concern while Elka beams with hope and warmth. A family, something he never dared dream of having. The muscular man in green reflects on his transformation from wild beast to civilized human. His time in the wilderness fades like a distant nightmare as he bonds with the pink-haired girl beside him. But to protect her, he declares with fierce determination, he won't hesitate to become a beast again. The blue-skinned enemies approach, and violence erupts. His red hair spikes with fury as he roars his promise. I won't hesitate to become a beast again. Behind him, a shadowy figure echoes the threat. The rumors about Rothstaylor flood back, tampering with exams, insulting the princess, harassing younger students. A frightened girl with pink pigtails cowers as a menacing man reaches for her with predatory intent. Dash! Ziggs races through the corridor, his feet pounding against the floor as he searches desperately for Elka. He finds Ed sitting casually, arms crossed, looking startled by the sudden intrusion. Ziggs grabs him by the collar, demanding answers with barely contained violence. Where is she? Where is Elka? Ziggs bursts into the reading room, his heart hammering with fear. Are you all right, Elka? But she lies peacefully on the floor, her pink hair spread around her like flower petals. She's just sleeping. His relief is overwhelming, his hands trembling as the adrenaline slowly fades. Thank goodness she's safe. But as he examines the room, the truth becomes clear. The heavy bookshelves have been carefully arranged around Elka like protective barriers. Blackout curtains block the spirit's sight. Instructions written on the ground warn her to stay calm, to wait until dawn. Someone prepared all this. Someone protected her. Blood stains his hands, but it's not Elka's blood. His eyes widen with realization. This is the blood of someone who injured himself protecting her, someone who chose her safety over his own. The statue of a mother holding her fallen child seems to watch over them as the truth sinks in. Ed sits against the wall, blood trickling from his forehead, his ash-blonde hair disheveled from battle. Bruises mark his face as he reflects with bitter irony. Oh man, what a waste. 3 hours earlier, as objects crashed around them, he had been grateful for his physical training. The summoning circle glowed purple outside while he made his choice. Ed contemplates his strategy with calculating precision. He must avoid the main areas where important characters gather, must not change the future's course. But time is precious, and soon berserking spirits will swarm the campus. As Elka demonstrates her magical abilities in his memory, he prepares to block the door against the coming storm. The young man reflects on his struggle to raise spiritual stats without the basic ability to see spirits. But as multiple dark purple spirits surge into the ornate room with terrifying roars, his eyes light up with opportunity. This chaos, this danger, it's exactly what he needs to grow stronger. Thank you, Yennecar. Ed reviews his progress with mixed satisfaction. His Ignite skill reached level 12, while Spiritual Resonance and Understanding hit level 7 each. So close to the contract threshold of 15 combined levels, yet still falling short. A dark figure approaches from behind as he contemplates what might have been, asking what he was doing here in this dangerous place. Ed shouts in confusion, "What was I doing?" While the white-haired character responds with simple honesty, "Training." The casualness of it makes him sigh in disbelief. Training? In the middle of a supernatural crisis? Yet somehow, Ed finally understands what kind of person he's dealing with, someone whose dedication knows no bounds. Ed acknowledges the debt he owes with solemn gratitude. The dark-haired character offers reassurance and friendship. As Ed recalls Elka and Ziggs, a crucial detail strikes him. She's so important to Ziggs as she appears in the character guide. How could he have forgotten such a vital connection? The conversation grows urgent as they discuss the crisis at the student halls. The slick-back character insists Ziggs should return to help Taylor McClure, but Ziggs remains defensive about his trust issues. The mention of Taylor's signature elemental slash hangs heavy in the air, a technique critical for their survival. The girl clings to Ed gratefully as he urges them to hurry. Time is running out, and he needs to rest. But as the blonde character's expression shifts to realization, a troubling question emerges. Wait, why hasn't Ziggs befriended Taylor McClure yet? The timeline has shifted, and the consequences are becoming clear. The narrative reveals the devastating truth. The final chapter has begun a whole month early. Taylor hasn't learned the elemental slash attack yet. The group of fighters stands ready, but incomplete, lacking the bonds that should unite them. The dragon's menacing head looms in the background, a reminder of the threat they're unprepared to face. Ed's eyes widen with the horrible realization. The debt he thought he understood was far more complex than he'd imagined. As a character in white is launched backward in defeat, the truth becomes undeniable. The story he knew, the timeline he counted on, it's already falling apart around him. In the darkened aftermath, Ziggs apologizes for his lateness while Princess Peenia accepts their previous defeat with grim dignity. The injured armored man laments their failed infiltration as Claire shows her emotional exhaustion. The weight of leadership and repeated failure presses down on them all like a suffocating blanket. The blonde boy counts their small victories for enemies defeated, but acknowledges their desperate situation. Multiple injuries, dwindling numbers, and time running out as the summoning circle pulses overhead. The boy in red makes the harsh decision to split their forces. Fear and determination war in their expressions as the final gambit approaches. The words appear like a declaration of war against fate itself. I have to get involved with the story. No more hiding in the shadows. No more avoiding the main plot. The timeline has shattered, and only by stepping into the light can Ed hope to salvage what remains. The story demands its hero, even if he never wanted to be one.